Did you ever want to be a Packard dealer since your dad had been in the business?
Well, by the time I wanted to be a dealer, they were out of business.
Yeah, I guess that's true, yeah. For 165 horsepower, this thing goes pretty good.
Not bad.
Welcome to episode of Jay Leno's Garage. The car we're featuring today, 1946 Packard Clipper Deluxe, two-door coupe. This was the car to have just as the war ended. This production had just started up again, and it's based on a pre-war design. It's about 357 cubic inches, 165 horsepower, 3-speed transmission with an electro clutch, which means once you pull that out, you could shift second or third without having to put in the clutch. Kind of a semi-automatic, you would call it now. You know, Packard was the name in prestige cars in America, certainly in the teens, 20s, and 30s. In the 30s, they kind of come out with the 120, which was a lower price Packard, and that's when people started to perceive Packard as less than the top of the line car. Cadillac was moving fast, General Motors. In 1948, of course, 49 rather, Cadillac came out with the overhead valve engine that kind of knocked these guys into the weeds a little bit. But in terms of smooth, quiet, this flathead engine, I believe it's 9 main bearings, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. Just the smoothest, most powerful thing you could buy. You know, if you rode in the back of this now, you'd think it was a modern Rolls Royce or one of those kind of cars. Just so smooth and quiet. This is owned by a friend of mine, Paul Rusnak. Paul has the Rusnak Auto Group. He has dealerships all over California. But this car has a very, very special meaning to him. I'm going to ask him to tell us about it. Paul, come on in, my friend. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Jay. Thank you for having me.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Now, tell us the history of this car. You were born in Czechoslovakia.
Yes, I was born in Czechoslovakia.
Which young people never even heard of, I guess.
Well, Czechoslovakia went through a velvet divorce 25 years ago, and now they're separate countries.
Right.
Czech Republic and Slovakia.
Czechoslovakia.
I'm a Slovak.
Right.
But I'm an American
Right.
Slovak.
Now, did your parents flee there? Did you leave voluntarily? What was the reason?
When the communists took over the country,
Right.
we escaped the country, or left the country, if you will.
Now, when you say escape, would they have seized your property and things like that if you had decided to stay?
Oh, absolutely. They seized all my parents' properties.
Wow.
And my dad was also a Packard distributor.
Oh, okay.
And he was also a Kaiser Frazer distributor.
Yeah.
After war, and a Praga distributor in Slovakia. And anyway, this was the model car that we escaped in when the communists took over the country.
Now, how does one escape? You just pack your belongings and tell people you're going for a Sunday drive, or?
Well, no, you pack your bags and you get on your bike, or you get in your car, or whatever, or you walk.
Right, but I mean, if the government knew you were trying to flee, they would have seized you.
Definitely, my dad would have been arrested, yes.
Wow, okay.
Yes.
Well, that's pretty frightening.
Well, it was. You know, the country fell behind the Iron Curtain as a result of that.
Now, at the time, I imagine, did you live like a pretty normal life? I mean, what, middle class life, upper middle class?
Yeah, upper middle class life,
Yeah,
yes, yes. My parents were, you know, affluent on our standards.
From what I know of people from that era, very old school, education very important.
Disciplined.
Discipline, yeah.
which is a
Suit and tie to go play
novel
baseball.
thing today.
Yeah, something new. And you know, I'm always amazed with Paul. Your next birthday, you're 91, correct?
Let's not talk about
You
it.
don't want to talk about it. I do, because he looks better than I do. I'm 20 years younger than he is. People go,
I don't
how
know.
old's that guy? Is he your younger brother? No, he's older than me. So there you go. But see, it's living well. It's that rugged life growing up in Czechoslovakia. Very good. Okay. So you would have been what age when you
we came here, I was 14 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, just
scary? Was it scary?
No, well, it wasn't scary to me because I didn't realize why we were leaving.
Oh, okay.
I had a twin brother.
Right.
And my brother and my mother and my dad, we were the ones that left together and went to Switzerland and eventually to the United States.
Did Dad just say, we're going for a Sunday drive, and then the next thing you know?
No, actually, my mother said, pack your bags, boys, and we thought we were going on vacation. We had no clue.
It's a long vacation.
We had no clue why we were leaving.
Okay. So you drive to Switzerland. Was your goal to live in Switzerland, or was your goal
No,
to...
the goal was to come to the United States,
Okay.
yes.
Now, had your dad ever been here before?
Yes, on business, of course.
Okay, he was the Packard
represented
Okay.
Packard, and Kaiser Fraser, General Tires, yeah,
But you had never been here before.
never.
Okay. So, and did you speak English?
I did not. No, we didn't speak English
Okay.
at all.
So you come here and okay.
Had to learn the language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long did that take you?
Still working on
Oh,
it.
so no, you really don't have much of an accent. Really.
Only when I drink.
Oh, okay. When I drink, yeah, don't get them drunk. That's a whole nother thing. And this was the model that you fled in. So this obviously had a special meaning to you.
Well, that's very much so. And when I saw this car, and I decided that for nostalgic reasons, obviously, I wanted to restore it. So we did a frame up or restoration, as
Right,
you can
right.
see, and it's a labor of love for me. You know.
Did your dad live to see this restoration?
No,
Oh, that's too bad.
no, he passed away. Oh my goodness, he was 75 when
Okay.
he passed
Okay.
away.
So obviously a special meaning to you.
Yes, very much so.
But it's a wonderful driving car, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a very stylish car, especially for its era, I think.
It is. You know, it's funny. I was reading an article the other day. It said the average height of the average American car now is the same as it was in 1938. High roof like this, because everything's now an SUV. So the cars are
Right.
big, tall. You know, for a while they got lower and sleeker. Now they're back being high again. And this has, I mentioned the straight A. Can we open the?
Sure,
Let's
of course.
open the hood here. This is like driving a bank vault, one of these things. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
No, it's not sexy like a Duesenberg engine, dual overhead cams, 4 valves per cylinder, but just dead reliable, just bulletproof. These are just wonderful, wonderful motors. Big cast iron lump, just run forever. Look how simple it is to work on. Everything is right here. Custom-made Packard battery that fits right in here. Try and find one of these today. I guess you almost have to have that custom-made. 6-volt system, which is fine. Yeah, these just run fantastic, quiet, smooth. Flatheads, you know, I was on a big cruise ship once doing a show, and I said, oh, show me the engine room, and they had this 16-cylinder engine, enormous thing. And it was a flathead. And I go, what year is this engine? They go, it's new. Because those old flatheads, they're reliable, they just, they just run. They're smooth, they're quiet, you know. No parts you don't need, you know. That's a big, I guess that a 2-barrel carburetor probably, maybe a big 1-barrel, I'm not sure what that is. Runs on regular gas. Yeah, these are just oil filter right there, horn, carburetor. Here, let's put this back down. How fast when we get back inside?
I just fastened.
You'll fasten inside. Let's see what else we have here. Just of course this roof line, fastback. I mean, it still looks good today, so it must have really looked unbelievable back in the day.
It certainly was.
Yeah,
It was a very unusual car to see in Europe at that time.
And so it was a new car, wasn't it?
It was a brand new car, yeah.
Yeah, so it must have been one of the first ones
Very first after the war.
after the war.
Yes.
And he escaped.
That was the Second World War.
He escaped with the car. Got it to Switzerland. Did you sell it in Switzerland, then come to America, or did you?
Actually, I think my dad sold it in Germany,
Oh, okay.
and then it came over. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. All kinds of room. As you see, it's a big car. You've got an enormous trunk here as well. Spare tire in there. Nicely done. Gas flap right here. These have an interesting feature. The gas cap whistles. When you put the pump in, you hear like, and as it gets fuller, the pitch gets higher. And when it gets really high, oh, yeah, that's when you know you're just about full, and you know to shut off the pump. It's got the electro clutch, as I mentioned before, which just makes shifting a little easier. Drum brakes, obviously, big steering wheel. No power steering, no power brakes. But my favorite thing about these cars is in the days before power steering and power brakes, everything was nicely weighted. It was a little heavy, but not overly heavy. It was just nicely weighted so the average person could drive the car and get a bit of road feel to it and modulate the brakes and everything like that, you know. So, yeah, just wonderful, wonderful cars. And what do they call this? Is this a corduroy material? Is that
Yes, it is. It's corduroy, the original corduroy.
And something almost nobody does anymore, and it's because it's so impossible to do. This is metal, this frame, and the dashboard is metal, but it looks like wood grain, and that's done with a series of little brushes and sponges. You just sort of touch. I mean, it's an art form. I found one old guy who'd been doing it since he was like 14 years old, and he did my Packard, which I have next door. A lot of people now, they put like a wrap, like a tape that has a wood grain on it. But this is all hand painted and then laminated over. Yeah, just nicely done. Boy, they did a beautiful restoration on this.
They did a very nice job.
Now, did you discover this one day, or you set out to recreate the car your dad left?
No,
you?
I decided. I found this car. Actually, this car was was domiciled in Scottsdale,
Yeah.
Arizona.
No.
And then we brought it here and sent it to Robert Escalante down
Right.
in Santa Ana for.
Yeah, Packard's International is the name of his place. Ready to go for a ride, Paul?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Let's take it for a spin. Here we go. See how she goes. Ah, very comfortable.
It's running.
Oh yeah, that's a Packard. Boy, it doesn't get much smoother than that.
Think so.
No, not bad at all. What a nice shifter on the tree there. People thought that was such a breakthrough having it on the tree, you know. When the 60 came along, all the kids wanted back on
I
the
know.
Oh, yeah.
The very first car
Yeah.
I've ever driven was what's that French car that you have one of one?
You had Peugeot, Citroën.
Citroën.
Citroën,
Yeah, and that was so ahead of its time.
yeah. Now, where did you sit when you left Czechoslovakia? In the back seat? You in the driver's side or passenger side? You and your brother?
I sat right behind my dad,
Oh, you sat,
the
yeah.
driver,
Yeah.
and my brother sat next to me. I think I told you I had a twin brother. Yeah,
Right, right.
he passed away, but
Oh, I'm sorry.
he was an architect.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Got some power, it goes all right. You could drive this
Not
every
bad
day.
for 165 horsepower.
No, not bad at all. So how long a drive was that from Czechoslovakia to Switzerland?
Well, it took us. Of course we stopped once we got through the challenge for us was to get through the Russian zone,
Right,
because if you remember, Germany was divided into 4 zones.
right.
So our challenge was to go get through the Russian zone. Once we got through that, and my dad planned the shortest route.
Now, did you have phony papers and things? Or
Oh,
you
no,
just,
no. We did have visas
Right.
to go to America because my dad was planning to take us
Right.
there before the takeover, and which we didn't realize was going to happen. So we did have visas to come to America, but of course those were tourist visas,
Right.
and we had to get a sponsor to even get a tourist visa. And I don't know if you recall, Henry J. Kaiser
Oh, sure.
was my sponsor.
Wow.
Well, our sponsor, I should say. My mother, my brother, and I.
Did your family know him, or?
My dad did business with him.
Oh, okay.
He was a distributor
Well, that's
for
where,
Kaiser Fraser.
and that's where Kaiser Permanente comes from.
That's right.
He was one of the first guys to have health care.
Healthcare, that's right. Yeah. And of course, you know, as you all know, Kaiser, they were primarily an armament business
Right.
during World War II. We were fortunate enough to have family here in New York when we came here. They kind of looked after us. My dad thought that takeover was going to last only about 6 months, and we would be able to return.
Right.
And of course, that never happened.
Right.
Here we are.
Yeah.
We're very fortunate.
Was there a big Czechoslovakian community in America when you came here?
Well, in Illinois, in Chicago, of course.
Right.
In Pittsburgh, there were quite large Czech and Slovak communities.
Right. How did you like America when you first came here? Did you adapt to it right away, or did you?
Well, challenge was the language.
Right.
Of course,
Yeah.
So the very first thing they did, they sent us to a summer camp because we came here in May.
Right.
So we had a great uncle in Pearl River, New York, and they found a summer camp for us. And my brother and I, of course, we were totally lost because we didn't speak the language. And then they put us in a boarding school in New Jersey, and it took us a few months to get conversational English, and then eventually, each year we got better at it.
Yeah.
And pretty much learned the language, and although I'm still working on it.
Yeah. But you had a lot more cars here in America than you had in Czechoslovakia.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Although, I have to tell you, Czechoslovakia was pre-World War II, was one of the largest automobile producers in the world.
Well, sure, Tatra.
You had Tatra, you had Aero, you had Praga. There were 4 brands.
Yeah.
Built. There were more cars built then in Czechoslovakia than in Germany. So what do you think?
Oh, it drives very nice. I love these Packards. These are just wonderful cars.
Well, I love that Patricia you have, that convertible. That's a beautiful.
It's Caribbean.
Caribbean, that Patricia. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Impression was the next step down.
Right.
Yeah, those are the last 2 years of the Packards. Did you ever contemplate going back to Czechoslovakia after you came here, or back to Europe?
To live? No.
Yeah, no.
Actually, I was honored many years ago. I was elected chairman, I should say president of the Slovak World Congress, which was an umbrella organization. So I used to go there every 10 weeks for a number of years.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And of course, the goal was to gain an independence for Slovakia.
Right.
Also, admission to NATO and admission to EU, and repatriation of the confiscated properties.
Right.
That happened during the Russian domination, and we got that all accomplished.
Keeps up with traffic quite adequately. Got automatic electric overdrive, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. All the gauges work.
Yeah. You only have one American dealership. Was that a Chrysler dealership?
No, over the years I had Chrysler dealership, and then I had a Chrysler Dodge dealership up in Thousand Oaks.
Yeah.
And Jeep, of course.
Right.
And I had a Pontiac dealership in Pasadena.
Which one?
Pontiac.
Oh, Pontiac, yeah.
And over the years, and then I made a decision pretty much about 25 years ago to concentrate on imports.
Yeah, high-end, yeah.
And later on, actually, even to start concentrating on the luxury end of the cars. So that's why we're known for having our group. That's the vent. Yeah. Oh, that's our air conditioning.
There you go, Eric.
There you go.
Look at that. Because when it rains, you get a foot bath.
Yeah. Have you had an opportunity to test any of the Genesis product?
Wonderful.
Aren't they great?
Boy, that's a very impressive car. That
impressive and great value.
Yeah, that top of the line one.
Yeah.
That rival the Rolls Royce.
Yes. I'm building, we're just finishing a brand new store
Yeah.
in Ontario. It's going to be a beautiful, state-of-the-art
Yeah.
dealership. And I'm really, really high on the product.
Yeah, they do a nice job. The 90s, the top of the line model, right?
Yes, and the styling is outstanding.
Yeah, quite sleek, yeah. Did you ever want to be a Packard dealer since your dad had been in the business?
Well, by the time I wanted to be a dealer, they were out of business.
Yeah, I guess that's true, yeah. Well, Paul, thanks a lot. Thanks for what you do for the car community. And
Wow.
thanks for running a great dealership.
Jay, thank you, and it's a
Buying
pleasure
cars
and
from
an
him
honor.
for 40 years.
I know. I remember when you bought the first car from me.
Yeah.
Was that Bentley Turbo R?
Yeah, that's right. You were just a
Right.
kid at the time.
Right. You told me you only got 2 payments left.
That's right. I was 2 payments left, yeah.
That was a good line.
Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed this little trip down memory lane in this 46 Packard. It's kind of a cool story, escaping from Europe and all that kind of stuff, intrigue. Casablanca was the big movie, Humphrey Bogart.
Right.
This is the kind of car you did in it. So, Paul, thanks again. And folks, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you.